Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've been in the garden and there's been a few things that have been on my to-do list for a while now. So I'm going to try to get that done today, and I thought I'd take you along for the ride in case it's helpful to someone else. So excuse my a bit of a lisp here. I have a dental device on, so that's why I'm speaking less clearly. But in any event, I have a lilac tree, so a lilac that's on standard. It's a dwarf Korean lilac. It's been in the ground now, or in a container in the ground, for a couple of years. So the trunk has gotten quite thick. It's been leaning for the last little while, at least last year definitely, and the lean is getting progressively worse. So I've been putting it off, trying to get that kind of sorted out, and I thought, now is the time to do it. It's been raining. It's been a very, very rainy winter for us here. We just had an atmospheric river, and the ground is very soft, which makes it kind of an ideal time to like transplant plants and also kind of make any adjustments you need to do. And I figure this lilac on standard, it will be a lot easier to move it when the ground is kind of soft rather than when it's like in bloom and when it's like quite hard compacted ground when it's dried out. So before it blooms out, I think I'm going to try to stake it. So my plan is to see if I can kind of dig around the root ball, kind of adjust the trunk without doing any damage, and then see if I can straighten it, and then probably try to stake it as best as I can. I did order a staking kit a while ago, but I can't seem to find that, so I'm just going to use what I have. The other task I have is that I have a Carex that I'm going to be transplanting as well, so I'll take you along for that. So let's head outside on this finally a dry day, to be able to get this done. All right, so here you can see my lilac on standard. It's in this little garden box here. And the reason for that is because this is such a wet, damp soil. It retains a lot of water and nothing was kind of thriving. So I kind of contained this in this garden bed. So in a way it's just like a container just to keep the drainage better. But you can see my lilac has been leaning and it's getting worse and worse. So it's been here a couple years at least, and at the bottom of it I've got this clematis, and I've got some bulbs in this garden bed here, and you can see some of them look like they're going to be blooming soon. That looks like a daffodil. There also are some tulips. Those have been here a while as well, so I don't know how long they're gonna last, but you can see my clematis actually is looking quite good, nice and strong. Looks like it's got all this new growth. So I'm gonna try to see if I can straighten this without damaging any of the plants underneath, which might be a little bit tricky, and without damaging this lilac. And you can see it's all budded up. See all the buds here, so that's looking good. And this is my oldest lilac on standard on the property, so it gives off an amazing scent once it's in bloom. So I'm going to see what I can do here with my shovel and hope for the best. Okay, so what I found is happening is that the soil is very damp, so it's very easy to maneuver, and it looks like the standard or the tree has sunk a little bit, and that's a little bit worrisome, but I don't have the strength to kind of lift it up, and I'm not going to dig it out. I think that'll cause more damage, so I'm just going to do my best to kind of straighten it out. I have a stake which was right next to the tree. I've taken that out. I'm going to hammer that into the soil next to the container because I think that will be stronger, less likely to move. The soil in the container is more like a potting soil type of soil rather than like garden soil. So I think it'll be sturdier if I just drive this stake in right next to the container for now and then just kind of wrap it. So try to keep the tree straight for now. So let me try and see how that goes. So here's my mallet, here's my stake. I'm gonna get this really far in there so it doesn't move. So it's nice and strong. It shouldn't be too wiggly. All right, so that's in there pretty good. Let's see. I found this kind of string. It's not ideal, but that's all I could find right now. I'm gonna try to use this. See what we can do. Too bad. Right, actually looking pretty good. All right, so first I drove in the stake deep into the ground, so with a mallet, so pretty deep so it doesn't move. And then I pulled this lilac on standard kind of straight as I could, which was nice and easy to do because this soil is quite malleable. It's damp, so it's easy to move, and I didn't really even need to use a shovel that much. I could just pull it. And you can see it is a little bit below the soil level, so I might have to dig around that soil a bit and uncover that. I don't want it to be buried, but for now, oops, what I did was I took some string and kind of pulled it straight and tied it to this stake. So, you know, the top one's a little tighter, this is a little looser, and I think that'll at least keep it straight for now. So it's a big improvement from what it was, and really we'll just see how it goes. And then that I might actually help with the clematis, the string. It might help climb. So I might just tie that together on there. Okay, let's see if we can try to tie up some of this clematis. This is the vagabond clematis. Get some ties here. This is just jute, so it's natural material and it'll dissolve on its own. So it's a good one to use. Doesn't stand out like these ones do, these plastic ones. I just tied it very, very loosely. So you can see I just tied it very, very loosely there. I'm just gonna do that maybe one more time. All right, guys, so my filming is less than ideal, so I apologize for that, but I've successfully staked this lilac on standard. Finally, it was leaning last year and now it is looking relatively straight. I'm happy about that. I had to drive into this ground here on the side because this is very soft, and then I just tied it with string. I tried to leave some wiggle room, but I think there's enough because of that soil. While I was here, I also took that clematis, the vagabond, which was kind of on the ground there, and I kind of wound it up a little bit with some jute. I actually should have used jute for this line, but oh well. And yeah, it's looking good. I actually wound some through here, so maybe that'll cover up this string and that might actually work out. And you can see my clematis has all this new growth on it, and it's looking good. So we'll see how this kind of transpires throughout the season. I'm really looking forward to these blooming. These smell amazing. This lilac smells amazing. It is a dwarf Korean lilac. I can show you the stats there here. It is zone 2. And I think I can take that tag off now, so I probably should do that. It's been here a while, but very happy with today's project and getting this done. It's been on my list for a while and I finally got to it. My clematis is going to be much happier as well. So while I'm here, I thought I'd show you my other 2 lilacs on standard, which I did stake because I learned my lesson from the other one. And we've had some windy days, so I'm glad I did stake them. Also the ground, because it is so soft, it really does move a lot. So you can see I did a similar method. I had this like kind of clematis stake, and I just kind of put it in the ground and pretty deep with a mallet just to make sure it's secure. And then I had just tied it with some twine here. So you can see there's my twine, blends in pretty nicely. And I'm just gonna leave this until this kind of stalk here, the stem kind of thickens up and kind of gets established. And you can see like this has not been in here very long, but it is budded up. So it is looking good for now. And over here's my second one. And you can see I did the same method, put a stake in relatively close. And this one I had a string, and yeah, it's a natural material as well. It just stands out a little bit more than the jute. And you can see like they're not perfectly straight, so I just kind of did the best I can. And it's a little bit kind of lopsided, you know, it just has more growth on this side, but hopefully that'll kind of fill out. I got these on clearance. They were a really good deal, so I was like, why not try? But yeah, once this kind of thickens out, gets established, I can hopefully remove this stake. But in the meantime, you can see it does have movement. It's not like rigid, super tight. It's able to kind of flex in the wind. So you want to just make sure it has a little bit of give. But what I wanted to do is, this is a Carex, which actually had planted in this garden bed. I actually had a line of grasses in this garden bed, but as you can see, it's very wet, so the Carex never thrived. So I was treating them as annuals. So this one I just kind of threw to the side and just was like, okay, it'll just compost away, but it's still alive. So I thought what I would do is I would try to transplant it to my front garden bed next to the sidewalk, where it's a lot more sandy soil, a lot drier and hotter. So I think that might do good there. So I thought, why not give it a try? So I'm just gonna kind of dig that up and let's take it to the front yard. All right, so here we are in the front yard, just at the front street here. Now this spot in the corner has very kind of sandy, dry soil, and I thought maybe this is kind of a throwaway plant anyways, so I have nothing to lose. Why not pop it into that corner and see how it does there? Okay, transplant complete, and it doesn't look like much, but you know, we'll give it a shot. If anything, it was gonna just be composted or trashed anyways, and hopefully it'll have a chance here. This is a lavender, and actually there was quite a bit of roots from that lavender, so you know, I wouldn't mind if that lavender kind of grew up and kind of covered the space as well. But the reason I think this Carex will do well in the front yard compared to the backyard is because I actually have some Carex in this garden bed here, and it seems to be doing very well. I'll show you a closer look. So you can see I had actually, these were a lot smaller, and I planted them in a video, and you can see how big they've gotten, especially this one just like loves its life. And these actually bloomed, and I cut off their blooms because I didn't really like the blooms, but they had kind of these feathery blooms, and you can see these 3 are doing amazing. So they obviously prefer the front yard as opposed to the backyard, and the backyard is much more waterlogged. To just wanted to show off my little hydrangea here, or sorry, hyacinth. This beautiful pink hyacinth is blooming. I got this at the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. Unfortunately, this one didn't seem to have a bloom, but anyways, that's just like a bonus flower. And you can also see my beautiful pulmonaria here. This is a different type of pulmonaria called twinkle toes. So this one has kind of more slender leaves. You can see the difference from the last one I showed you. The leaves are much more slender and smaller. You can see I have one there. I've got one back here too, which is a little bit smaller. Hopefully that will take off as well. And here is my Daphne. It's kind of slowly losing its blooms, but they're still hanging on. Can't recommend that one enough. And I wanted to show you one more garden task that I wanted to do was I wanted to remove the grass around this base of this tree. So you can see, like, you know, I've learned that it's not good to have your trees in grass. You should have kind of like a mulch circle around it. So I'm not sure if that's something that I'll be able to do, just because it's going to take some muscle to do that, elbow grease. So I might have to get help with that. But that is something I did want to do, is like maybe just make a bit of a mulch circle around there. And you can see the soil is a little bit raised. So that's, I'm not sure how tough that'll be, but that is something that I would like to do. But yeah, we've got lots of growth happening in this garden bed up front. We've got this beautiful hellebore. Has been blooming for weeks. And you can see all of this is self-seeded here. These are all new plants. And that is the rose campion. So I'm excited to see that. That has been just a beautiful addition to my garden. So I wanted to show you guys this piece of grass that I did pull up from under the tree. And I wanted to show you this grub. So this is apparently a European Schaefer beetle. And this is in the grass. So another reason to be pulling up this grass is that these eat the roots in any of it. And they make the grass very, they damage your lawn. So your lawn doesn't look good in any event. So I think it's a good call to have less grass rather than more. And you can of course spray for these, but we don't spray, so I have no problems getting rid of this grass around that tree. Thanks to those guys. Crows love these, so they pull up the grass and eat these, so your grass just gets destroyed regardless. All right, some good news. We were able to take out some of the sod under this tree, and it's looking really nice. There were so many grubs, so I think it was the right move. And you can see at the base there, right here, that it was buried about an inch or so on this side, and actually a little bit more on the other side, but kind of tried to dig out the grass and the soil around that trunk as much as I can, which I think is much healthier for the tree. Did have to cut out some roots, some of the roots that were sticking out here, and then I did my best to kind of level it. So, you know, it's a start, and I tried to kind of, it couldn't not connect to this bed here. So you can see it's kind of got this like half figure 8 shape. And I tried to make a little bit of a curve here. So I figured that would look better. But yeah, I'm just thinking like that's all I could do for now. Ideally, might even make it go out a little bit more. But for now it's looking really nice. And this soil out here is more sandy, less waterlogged, so it's less clay. And there were quite a bit of worms in there, so signs of life. My plan is to put cardboard down and then mulch it and just leave it. Not sure if I want to plant there. I think I will check out the sun exposure first before planting anything there, because it will definitely get morning sun in the summer. And right now you can see there is some sun, but I think afternoon, like once this tree leaves out, it's going to be in shade. So a little hard to tell right now while the leaves are, you know, still coming in. But it looks really nice and tidy, so I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna probably mulch it at some point, but maybe put cardboard down. I'm not gonna plant anything quite yet, because first of all, there's lots of roots, but also need to kind of determine like what the sun situation is. I'm thinking lavender, but yeah, I'm not sure if there'll be enough sun in the summer. So it is a dry area, and probably won't get as much water, so drought tolerant for sure. So yeah, very happy. And just stepping back, I can show you kind of the whole bed here. Less grass, more garden beds is definitely the way to go, especially when you have these grubs.